Friendly reminder.
Start saving for your golden years with a Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
Coming up in CVM News at 7, the hunt is on for criminals who shot and killed a fisherman in Negril this week. Also, defense to be mounted in Chinatown police party shooting. Meanwhile, St. Elizabeth Police boast more gun seizures in 2024 amid growing citizen support. And in sport, West Indies takes unassailable 2-0 lead in T20 International Series against South Africa. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7, the weekend edition. Welcome, it's Saturday, May 25, 2024. I'm Ramon Gordon. Now to the news. The police out west have launched a manhunt for 2 men linked to a deadly shooting on Thursday night. The incident claimed the life of one man, 62-year-old Kelvin Whitmore, and a Negril fisherman. His common-law wife was also seriously injured. According to police reports, around 10 p.m., 2 armed men broke into the family's home through the children's room. The intruders then proceeded to the couple's bedroom, where they opened fire, striking both Whitmore and his wife. Kelvin was found dead at the scene with multiple gunshot wounds. His 49-year-old partner was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The couple's 2 children, who witnessed the horrific ordeal, were physically unharmed. They are now with relatives and receiving counseling. The police have not yet released the identities of the suspects, but are actively pursuing leads in the case. Authorities are appealing to anyone with information to come forward. Meanwhile, the prosecution has closed its case in the Kingston gun court against suspected Chinatown gang member Mark Jacobs. He was charged with shooting with intent following an incident with the police last year. The incident occurred in Central Village, St. Catherine, where the Chinatown gang operates. During the exchange, another man also reportedly linked to the gang was shot and killed, and a gun was recovered. Jacobs was arrested days later and charged. Authorities say the gang has been in conflict with the St. Catherine South Police due to extortion activities at the Chinatown bus park. Earlier this year, Dwayne Watson, a reputed senior member of the gang, was convicted and sentenced to 35 years in prison for crimes committed in Chinatown. The gang is considered one of the most notorious in Central Village and has been linked to several murders, including those of taxi drivers who refused to pay extortion fees and an off-duty police officer. This case will continue on Monday, when attorney Norman Edmond is expected to mount a defense. Still on crime, calls to action continue to intensify in the case of slain 53-year-old Gleaner journalist Job Nelson. Nelson was gunned down at a stoplight on Spanish Town Road on Tuesday. In a statement on Friday, the Association of Caribbean Media Workers, ACM, condemned the shooting and urged local authorities to expedite investigations. Their call follows a similar plea from the Press Association of Jamaica days ago, which urged the police to spare no effort in bringing Job's killers to justice. The Kingston Western Police are currently investigating the murder. A motive at this time remains uncertain. Nelson worked in Jamaican media for over 35 years. A man is now in police custody following the seizure of a pistol and 7 9mm cartridges in Port Antonio, Portland on Saturday. Reports indicate that shortly after 2 a.m., police were conducting a search-and-stop operation in the Rafters Rest area when they discovered the weapon on the now detainee. He will remain in police custody pending further investigations. Still on crime, commanding officer for the St. Elizabeth Police Division, Superintendent Coleridge Minto, is reporting an increase in gun and ammunition seizures this year. This despite what some locals consider continued crime across the parish. More from Nika Lewis.
Two murders in recent weeks in St. Elizabeth have not dampened gains made by the crime fighters in the parish on the guns and ammunition seizure front. In fact, only last weekend, the police say 3 weapons were seized, adding to their cache.
Last week was the latest find. We had 3 firearms recovered on the weekend. The first one was Friday, we had one Saturday, and the other one was Sunday.
Despite the crime perception reflected in recent polls by many Jamaicans that the country is not safe and that the police aren't doing enough, the commanding officer is citing major wins. He's heaping praise on his team for their continued efforts amid criticism. But that's not all. He's also commending the residents who have seemingly begun to throw their support behind the police in the parish.
Parish has been seeing an increase in firearm recoveries since the start of the year compared to the corresponding period last year. Since this year, we have recovered 14 firearms when compared to 10 for the same period in 2023. As it relates to ammunition, we have recovered 343 rounds as compared to 97 for the corresponding period. And so I want to use this medium to commend the officers across the parish, detectives who have been doing an excellent job with our case files, and for the intelligence work that is being done that has aided the recovery of the firearms and the ammunition.
Meanwhile, shortly after speaking to the commander, CVM News was alerted to a crime scene in which it's alleged a local violence producer was gunned down at an establishment by other thugs. Nika Lewis, CVM News.
To other news now, another family has received a home under the government's new social housing program, NSHP. The Coleman family in Rocky Point, Clarendon, are the latest recipients of a 3-bedroom unit, which replaced a dilapidated structure. Here's more. Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking on May 24 at the handing over of the property. He noted that this latest initiative is part of ongoing efforts to bolster the island's social safety net.
The idea of the social safety net is not to replace individual initiative, meaning that it is not the intention to create a system where the citizens just rely on the government and don't make an effort for themselves. But where citizens are not able to help themselves and they fall into such a situation that their quality of life is below the conscience of the society, then the government has a role to step in and support.
Earlier this year, the Prime Minister stated that the NSHP had exceeded initial expectations, distributing over 200 housing units for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. However, at least 150,000 housing units are needed nationwide to meet existing demand. Of that figure, over 6,000 families are in need of government support. Contractor limitations and procurement laws have stalled aid in some instances.
Previously, when governments are trying to deal with these issues of poverty, we would want to move as quickly as possible. This House went to procurement 3 times. 3 times went to a procurement and it failed, went again, it failed, and finally it went and a contractor was found. A lot of time that you could say wasted, but here what now? We prevented resources from being wasted. Maybe the procurement rules need to be revised.
In his March 12 presentation to Parliament, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke expressed similar concerns. He also announced that changes are coming to expedite the awarding of government contracts.
Maybe the current procurement law needs to account for situations like these. Maybe the thresholds need to be revised. Maybe the consideration of what is material needs to be revised. Our generation has to find a way to get a new public bureaucracy in Jamaica that will move very quickly, but at the same time perfect the rules that are there.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News. Now, amid complaints of unclean spaces in the capital, Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, is working to remedy those concerns. He outlined some plans recently.
The municipality of Kingston and St. Andrew has been repeatedly bashed for unclean public bathrooms and markets. But Mayor Andrew Swaby says he's on a mission to make his municipality clean. He has teamed up with the National Solid Waste Management Authority NSWMA to maintain the cleanliness of Kingston and St. Andrew. He's pulled on NSWMA former Executive Director Joan Gordon Webley to head the initiative.
I believe that once we bring this in here, we're not going to get a change overnight, but we know that we are going to keep pressing because people are just coming and talking, oh, beautiful, this is good. They never know the place will personalize. So I really like to thank Mayor. It's his brainchild.
Mayor Swaby's efforts were recognized by People's National Party PNP President Mark Golding, who is commending the mayor for his work.
He has been a dynamic force for change, and we're seeing a lot of new things, positive things, including the beautification of the parade area. And, you know, it's great to see him executing on his vision so quickly.
Golding, who is anticipating upcoming projects, will not wait in vain, as the mayor has announced additional plans for his municipality, one of which is liaising with business owners to come to some agreement with them regarding their garbage disposal.
Certainly, I'll be going into the business spaces and talking to them and making sure that they hold their garbage are disposed of, make sure they're disposed in a proper way. And over a period of time, you'll see the cleaner kids are coming to a reality. That's one. So what we are trying to do here is to show the entire Kingston St. Andrew that we can keep very clean.
Renovating the Ward Theatre in Kingston is also among Mayor Swaby's many plans for his municipality. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
The Victoria Jubilee Maternity Hospital got a boost on Labor Day, with volunteers helping to improve the ward. Senior Medical Officer Dr. Garth MacDonald and Acting CEO for the Victoria Jubilee and Kingston Public Hospitals welcomed the support from the San Myrna Foundation and other stakeholders. Here's Natalia Clark with more.
On Labor Day, Director of the San Myrna Foundation, Robert White, led a team of 25 volunteers to labor on the labor ward at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, VJH. This is their second year contributing to the hospital's development.
We are refurbishing the labor ward, which is Ward 2. This year we do the painting, and then we are going to ensure that at the front part there where the desk is, we are going to refurbish it and ensure that it's very homely, that whenever the mothers are here, they can feel at home.
Senior Medical Officer Dr. Garth MacDonald says the project came at the best time during the hospital's low birth season.
On a daily basis, we're in a low season now. We may deliver anywhere between 10 to 25 babies per day, dependent on the time of the year. We're in a low season, so it is good that we can be moving from space to space to get different aspects of the labor ward painted and lifted.
Acting Chief Executive Officer for the Victoria Jubilee and Kingston Public Hospitals, Dr. Natalie Wiley, endorses the move from the San Myrna team, and despite ongoing maintenance programs, a call was made for more private sector stakeholders to follow suit.
And I think everyone knows that the Victoria Jubilee is the birthplace of the nation, and so with the collaboration and the partnership, we are again happy for the support.
Both herself and White agree more assistance would work to positively impact the facility.
And I want to invite other companies, who have that philanthropic spirit to come and participate with us, come and volunteer, because every effort makes a difference. It's a critical part of nation building.
We are calling on more corporate company just to volunteer. Just come by the Kingston Jubilee Hospital or the KPH and just volunteer. Whatever you can do, it will be much appreciated here. It's well needed.
Natalia Clark, CVM News.
We're taking a quick break here on CVM News at 7. Next, we have news from overseas.
Our talented team of makeup artists will be providing complimentary bridal makeup services for all brides, and we're so excited. So, if you have a wedding coming up, you can find us at leshopcosmetics.com or on Instagram at leshopcosmetics.
We want a piece for Jamaica. Yeah. Yo, what are you?
Oh man, none of that. No, brother, no.
Can I see you ever play ref? No, big game,
yeah, but I look a bad game. No, I said, Pierce, you come from, brother, I want to live good, man. I want to live good, brethren. No shake hand, I can play a little bad, brethren.
Really have to shake hand?
Yeah, man, and no badness, brethren. Just live good, man.
Come together as one and make the violence done.
Later, Daddy. Take care of Grandpa.
Saka, need work.
I'm Tara Monique from Le Shop Cosmetics, Jamaica's only vegan organic makeup brand. We are the exclusive makeup sponsors for this year's MSW events 14-14-14 Mask Wedding. Our talented team of makeup artists will be providing complimentary bridal makeup services for all brides, and we're so excited. So, if you have a wedding coming up, you can find us at leshopcosmetics.com or on Instagram at leshopcosmetics.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. Now, before we take a look at stories internationally, an entire community locally is praising its councillor for continued work in their division. The residents say they're expressing gratitude for long-standing support. Trisha Gay Kelly dives in.
Several entities gathered on Thursday to contribute to the nation's various Labor Day projects, mostly focused on building ramps for added accessibility. But there were others who turned their attention towards improving their own communities. In Seaton Crescent, Westmoreland, residents pulled together to improve an underdeveloped football field in the area. One resident, Earl Manderson, says he's proud of the initiative.
Over the years, we've been loving for this for Seaton Crescent, Guncourt, and finally coming through. The young youth coming up now, can look through it and see that good things can happen to Savla, man. No matter what the circumstances, good things still in the pipeline. So the youth have just hold in corner, come together and unite and make a better Westmoreland.
Their efforts were boosted through contributions from Councillor for the Savlamar Division, Julian Chang, whom many of the residents lauded for her support in the division. Another resident, Leroy Lewis, welcomes the councillor's continued involvement.
Miss Chin is doing a good thing to see the community. The football field will be named Guncourt, and she do a lot. Like a politician coming through, they do nothing for the youth them. And Miss Chin come and deal with this. And kids them appreciate it. The elders them appreciate it.
Chang says this is just one of her numerous plans for the division. With crime on a high in the parish, she believes these projects will positively impact the residents and perhaps even change the notorious narrative.
We have several projects, but this is the main project, and this is Seaton Crescent football area. It is known as Guncourt Lawn, and what we're doing today is we are dropping 10 loads of dirt because the field is very low, and we're going to grade it down, add some lights, solar lights, football posts, nets, ball, and we're going to play some football.
The residents remain optimistic that the project will deter the youth not only in their community but other areas of Westmoreland as well from indulging in criminal activities. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Now a look at regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. The presidents of the U.S. and Kenya have declared their commitment to help bring stability to Haiti, which has been rocked by months of gang violence. Kenya has agreed to send 1,000 police officers there to help restore order. Its President William Ruto spoke about the mission while on a 3-day state visit, the first African leader hosted at the White House in 16 years. Here's more from Al Jazeera.
Welcoming Kenya's President William Ruto on the South Lawn of the White House, marking since 2008 the first official state visit of an African leader. To mark the occasion, Biden announced he'd be making the symbolic designation of Kenya as a non-NATO ally.
Virtually no challenge, I think, that Kenya and the United States can't meet together.
For years, Kenya and the United States have collaborated on security challenges in Africa and beyond. But now Kenya is sending 1,000 police officers to act as peacekeepers in Haiti, a move that's unpopular with some Kenyan lawmakers and human rights activists who are more concerned about their own problems at home. But President Ruto's still pressing ahead, backed by more than $300 million in U.S. financing.
To break the back of the gangs and the criminals that have visited untold suffering in that country.
In the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, hours after a kidnapped victim was released by her kidnappers, police killed 4 men yet to be identified whom they suspect were responsible for her abduction. More from CNC 3 News.
5 days after she was snatched outside her doubles stall in El Dorado, Anisha Hossain Singh was released near the Caroni cremation site around 10:30 on Wednesday night. A passerby took her to the St. Joseph police station where she was questioned on her ordeal. When CNC3 News went to her O'Connor Village home on Thursday, the close-knit community was quiet as no one wanted to talk about what had happened. Police, however, confirmed that she was unharmed.
She's doing well, right? And she was safe with the family. And she was given medical attention last night upon receiving her, and she is doing fine.
By 9:45 a.m. on Thursday, police went to a forested area in St. John's Road, St. Augustine, where they were confronted by 4 men who they believe were linked to Hossain Singh's kidnapping. There was an exchange of gunfire. In the end, the men were killed.
And on the international scene, the European Union's top diplomat says the bloc will have to make a choice between supporting international institutions and the rule of law. The details from the BBC.
Israel's soldiers have been ordered to push into Rafah. Israel's leaders have been ordered to stop. Footage from both sides shows the fighting as Israeli troops edge closer to the city centre. But the UN's highest court today focused on civilians, those still there, and the 800,000 who have fled.
Israel must immediately halt its military offensive and any other action in the Rafah governorate which may inflict on the Palestinian group in Gaza conditions of life that could bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part.
Israel says this is a precise and limited operation, but satellite pictures of Rafah show the destruction less than 2 weeks after the assault. Today, Israel's army said it had recovered the bodies of 3 hostages from northern Gaza: Michel Nissenbaum, Oriane Hernandez, and Hanani Blanca. One member of the war cabinet said Israel had to keep fighting to return its hostages and safeguard its citizens, and would continue to act according to international law.
That's it for regional and international news. I'm Nika Lewis.
It's now time for Inspire Jamaica with Curlin Brown.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Children and complex trauma. As the book suggests, there are so many variations to trauma. Trauma being an emotional shock that creates substantial, lasting damage to an individual's psychological development. But this author, Chuck Geddes, has dedicated his book to all the parents who work so hard to care for children who have come from such difficult places. Difficult places like being rejected. And one of the answers to that is secure attachment. Now, because secure attachment or bonding is characterized by feelings of trust and safety in relationships, for children to develop secure attachment, they need to be raised in an environment where they feel protected and seen.
Bonding really, from the psychological perspective, speaks about attachment. And so that is the period, and generally it spans the life of a child, especially in the earlier years. It's very, very important. And sometimes after a mother would have a child, the doctor would say, ensure that you breastfeed. And it's not, breastfeeding is important, but it's the warmth, that closeness, which is very, very integral for the child and the child's development and feeling a sense of security and a sense of trust.
So, take for example, here in Jamaica, we have children who are in state care. They are obviously deprived of that sort of attachment.
In our program, we find that, and we have said it, that the best place to raise a child is within families. And hence why we have gotten involved in foster care. So our aim is really to recruit parents who are persons who have a lot of love to give. And so it's not just any regular parent. And so when the child is placed into that environment, we want to ensure that the environment is safe. The person is willing to treat the child as their own. And that's very, very important. And sometimes what happens though, because the parent that we would have recruited in this season would not have had the child from the child was a baby, or when the child was born, or when the child was growing in the womb. So therefore, sometimes that missing component is there for the child.
And we realize that there's so many things that we would overlook simply because we didn't get it the first time around.
Because our parents are not perfect, there are usually some things that we miss out on. And generally, we have to continue to develop as an individual. And what a child does, and especially biological or otherwise, it helps to draw attention to those areas that really were not solidified in our lives. And sometimes we have to get to the point of changing ourselves, working on ourselves to help us to become better, so that we can also become better parents and have more love overflowing through us to the child, so that they also can become a healthy person in society.
I am Curlin Brown. Let's continue to inspire Jamaica.
Shout and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Time for another break here on CVM News at 7. Sports is next.
The place feel cold. Check that place in mold. Weird spots on wall and the place smell bold. Check that place in mold. It affects the young, it affects the old. Check that place in mold. Call Hygiene Lee and make we roll. Check that place in mold. Get your mold inspection done today.
Call us today to inquire at 876-630-2572. Hygiene Lee. It's simple. We clean to the core.
Bag it and pin it, every rubbish in a pan. No dirty up the place, this a we island. So keep Jamaica, keep Jamaica. Say me could do it, keep Jamaica clean. Beg you listen to me please. No plastic bag, no fear blowing at the breeze. No proper garbage, disposal, recycle plastic. Now make it full up in the streets. Bag it and pin it, every rubbish in a pan. No dirty up the place, this a we island. So keep Jamaica, keep Jamaica. Say me could do it. A message from the National Solid Waste Management Authority.
MSW event's 10th year anniversary, and we proudly present our signature mass wedding 14-14-14. This June, Jamaica witnessed 24 deserving couples become one in an unforgettable ceremony. Save the date as we embark on an enchanting journey to June 14, 2024.
Attention all commuters, your JUTC fares just got lower. Use your smarter